Hi, Methods kids. We are going to just cover some quick structuring and delivery of lessons ideas that you will be able to implement in your lesson plans that you are about to begin to write. A specific technique that we are going to talk about is the I, we, you. I still use this if I'm teaching my own children at home something, if I'm teaching an adult something. I just taught a friend how to sew last night. I use this same model. And once you look at it and kind of reflect, you'll probably notice that you too use this model to teach and inform other people of how to do certain skills. So, the I, we, you model. So, the I is, of course, you. The we is together, you and the student. And then the you is independent practice of the student. Typically, when the teacher is teaching it, the I portion, it is direct instruction. You are delivering key information, maybe modeling a certain process. Think about maybe math or breaking apart sentence structures. In the we, this is guided practice. So they are not just observers anymore. They are partaking in the learning process. You can help students at key moments, and then you kind of gradually allow them to do more. And then, of course, the you part is their independent practice. It allows students the opportunity to do the work on their own, and it also allows you the opportunity to circulate around the classroom and be able to assess who's got it and who does not. This is a perfect form of scaffolding, of holding their hand tightly, walking beside them, and then kind of watching from a distance to see if they can do a specific skill. Technically, when we break down the I do, we do, you do method, it is really I'll do it, and then I'll do it again. And then you're going to help me do it, and then you're going to do it, and then I'm going to help you when needed, and then you do it, and you do it, and you do it, and you do it over and over and over and over again to practice. This way sets up a model of learning that when they go home, if you were going to give them independent practice at home, something like homework, then you know that they're doing it well. But if we teach and instruct with direct instruction and then straight to independent practice, we've left out that opportunity for them to be able to kind of test the waters with you right there. That guided practice piece is really important. Okay, so techniques of I do, we do, you do. Don't write this down yet. We're going to go through each one. We have something called the ratio, the hook, check for understanding, name the steps, at bats, board to paper, exit ticket, circulate, and take a stand. So let's break those down really quickly. The hook is a short introductory moment that captures what's interesting and engaging about the material and puts it out front. We are, if you remember, maybe like fifth grade writing, your teacher said the opening paragraph, you need to get a hook to the reader. How are you going to interest them? How are you going to draw them in? Maybe it's a story or a riddle or a picture. It needs to be short, it needs to be dynamic, and it needs to be energetic. You don't need one for every lesson, just the beginning of each topic. And so not every lesson will start out this way, but maybe the first lesson in the unit that you are writing. Again, a picture will do it. A video will do it. A riddle or a story, a song, anything that they are going to find a bit surprising, you're going to hook the reader. You're going to hook the learner that way. If it's you getting up and telling them how important decimals are to their future lives as adults, not a good hook, okay? So that's something that we want to see implemented in your unit. The next thing is name the steps. This is just a simple process of scaffolding, all it is. I just want you to be purposeful when you are teaching your lesson that you're naming the steps. You're breaking it down, you're making it catchy. It is you actually making a visual for the students that they will rely on it when they are doing this right here, this I do, we do, you do. This visual, when they are doing the guided practice and independent practice, is going to help a lot for them if you have named the steps out, if you've broke it down, if you've made it catchy, if you've made it visual. It's something that will be planted in the classroom so they can lean on. Very simple. So think about, how have I created a visual, a non-linguistic representation of what I want my kids to do? Okay. The next one is board to paper. It's the idea that students need to learn to take notes. But just like any other learning system, we need to do I do it, we do it, you do it. You need to show them what that looks like. In other classes, I have something called an interactive notebook. And it's that same way. They are taking notes, but I have provided much of the notes. Sometimes this just means I've provided all the notes, and then they are going to provide the illustrations for me. Note taking is really inappropriate all the way through elementary school if you are lecturing and they are writing down needed skills and copying it from the board or something that you said. They do not have the ability to do that. Some of your kiddos in K-5 will, but the majority of them will not, and even some middle schoolers have issues with that. We want them to spend their time learning, absorbing, processing that information, not trying to spell certain things as you fly through the material that you want to cover. So again, make sure it's grade and age appropriate, but it is that fact that we do want them invested in note taking, and all that means is you are an active learner. It doesn't have to mean that you are actually writing notes in a notebook that the children themselves produce. The next thing is to circulate. There is an invisible plane at the front of most classrooms, and some teachers are scared to cross over into the student area. Do not be scared of that. You need to be circulating the classroom the whole entire time. You need to engage the students. You need to have full access to all the desks in the classroom. I spent most of my time teaching from the back of the classroom and the sides. I didn't assume that position of power up front. I wanted to make sure that I was in the crowd with them. You really do need to break that plane within the first 5 minutes of your lesson to show that you're not just going to stay up there. It's not student world and teacher world, that you are going to move around the room and that you are a part of their learning community. You don't so much have to write that in your lesson plan. It's just something for you to think about. You could, if you are doing the format of teacher : student : you can say teacher is circulating around the classroom. That does show that you understand exactly what a teacher should be doing. Ratio is giving students the most practice possible throughout your whole lesson. And if you do that with I do, we do, you do, and you are very cognizant of that and you're very purposeful with that, you are going to give them a higher ratio of practicing. How I used to issue homework to my kids is we would do I do, we do, you do. And it was when it was their time to do something, I had already seen them be successful doing it a couple times. And so there's no reason to give them 25 math problems to send home at night. Just do it 2 more times on your own. And if that means that you did it in class, I'm okay with that. But the concept of I am going to teach you something and then independently you're going to practice at home does not work, because if they are practicing something that is inaccurate, you've actually done more harm to yourself. The ratio of them practicing throughout a lesson can also be used by you having, when in the we do portion, giving half statements. Next we do, and you just pause, okay? Or, and we know that these 3 are called, and wait for them to say molecules, okay? You want to feign ignorance, rephrase, or add on. Let them, the first time that we do, let them guide you through it. And then maybe the next we do, someone else guides you through it, maybe a lower student. And the next time we do, maybe someone's doing it at the board, and you're sitting in their seat. And so that ratio of power and that ratio of instruction is off balance to maybe what you've seen in the past. Check for understanding is constantly assessing through the lesson. With this model of teaching, if you do it correctly, you will be constantly assessing through the lesson. It requires you to think of questions to your answers as data, meaning, okay, let's just talk about that we are doing two-digit addition. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it again. Then we are going to do it. I am collecting how that goes as data. Is that 1 point for yes, they know how to do it? 1 point for no, they don't know how to do it. And so I'm taking that data and changing my lesson as the lesson is going to make sure that by the end of my lesson that they are able to do it. They are self-sufficient. But a lot of times we think of questions as, oh, this is something that I was taught to do in my undergrad class. I have to ask them questions. Think of it as your constant assessment. A lot of us put that those questions are our assessment, but we need to be using it as data in our minds. Even if you have like a checklist on a board and you're saying, okay, student A, they've just showed me they know it. Oh, now student C, student T, I'm still waiting on student B. But use it as data. Have I seen them be able to do this skill? You need to be constantly asking why to make sure that they really understand what's going on. And quickly answer questions and misunderstandings. If an error is practiced, it'll make more work to undo. And so going through, if we look back here, circulating and breaking that plane is so important because you don't know if you have actually, if they've actually mastered something if you're just standing in front of the classroom. Okay? The next technique is called at-bats. A lesson should always end with the student practicing their new skill. Go up to bat. Show me what you can do. Hands down, no question. If you are leaving the student saying, okay, I really haven't seen that you know what you're doing, you can't give them homework in that. That is not fair, and it actually is more harmful again if they haven't proved that they can do it, then why are we having them practice it? That is it. I hope that you can implement these in your future lessons, and we will talk more about these techniques the next time that we get together.